All right. Here we go. Oh yeah, I gotta still some more sharing to do. Oh, Facebook. Very bizarre. I'm gonna get flagged for misinformation from Taiwan. Alright, sorry. Hello, everybody. Are you on? Oh yeah, let me make sure your mic is up. Just a second. Okay, we should be good now.
Are we?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
All right. Well, either tilt the camera or move.
Yeah, I'm gonna move over a bit. It's like it ruins the background otherwise. Hello. All right. I wanted to like level out the camera. I realized it was like tilted because you could see in the background like everything was sort of tilted looking. That was gonna drive me crazy if I didn't take care of that. All right. Welcome to the Rough Report. I'm Jimmy Ruffy and this is Nat Prince. And we're back on schedule. We're actually, 7 days later doing another show. Look at us staying on schedule. I got a few points lined up here. We're going to talk about orcas. If you've been paying attention to the news,
Comrade orcas.
Yeah, we're comrade orcas. Going to talk about rhetoric on voting because with coming up to an American election year, they're already talking about it. The voting discourse is started, and it's probably going to dominate a lot of what we see in the news and stuff for the next little while. Which brings me into we're going to talk about a little bit of like the sort of polarization / Americanization of Canada, how it relates on like a political level, the astroturfing, the dark money, all that stuff. And, that, in my opinion, sort of relates to, and I'm repeating myself perhaps a little bit from previous episodes, but Doug Ford and healthcare. We're going to be talking a bit more about that because it's not something that should be easily forgotten and we can't sweep it under the rug until the next crisis happens. And if we have a little bit of time, I'm going to talk about crypto scams and stuff. So yeah, that's basically the show. Let me get the theme music off here. Who doesn't love the orcas? Who doesn't love the orcas?
Well, billionaires right now.
Yeah. Case in point. We have
What
this.
a ludicrous headline.
I know, right?
Stop.
Like when they wrote that, they're like, yeah, this is going to resonate with the people, right?
Yeah. Stop rooting for the orcas ramming boats. No, never.
They're not our friends. They're hurting my boat.
It's mean. Like, oh, boo, boo, boo. Did somebody get addicted to polluting the oceans, not getting attacked by orcas?
Yeah. Somebody get addicted to having a yacht.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly, I've only ever seen the headline. I didn't read any of it, so I have zero idea as to the content. So it could go one of two ways. It could either be like this pro-capitalist shill, or it could end there and the next sentence is just kidding.
Well, it wasn't the latter. I can tell you that. I tried to read it. But guess what? Just to put the feather in the cap of the capitalist bootlicking that is happening in this headline from the Atlantic. You scroll down. Yeah, gotta sign up. Gotta sign up.
Orcas
Paywall.
are doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can get a free trial, but
No,
I'm not
no.
gonna do that. Fuck
nah,
'em.
screw that. Unless the money goes directly to the orcas, I'm not giving them. No.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If it were going directly to the orcas, like I know where I want to put my money.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? I saw someone. I think it was a tweet. It was pretty funny. It was like, say something like, I wish I could get the message to the orcas to like ask them, how can us land dwellers assist in their in their revolution?
Yeah, like I've been seeing memes all over the place, and it brings me nothing but joy.
Oh yeah, this is great. The only problem is, it's gonna. Like if it escalates, which it seems like it's going to, the kind of long and short of what you can read here is that they've been like, it's a problem that keeps getting worse, and the orcas actually seem to be getting better at it, and that's kind of why it's getting the media attention that it is now. And yet, what they're going to start doing, right? You know what the escalation of this looks like, because the type of people that own yachts aren't the type of people that have a whole lot of morals.
We're basically talking about like 80s and 90s environmental drama villains.
Yeah. No, they're just going to kill these whales. Like, there's no doubt about it. They will sooner slaughter this entire species than not have a yacht.
Yeah.
That's what the end game to that is going to be. Yeah. I mean, like, we practically made species of sharks go extinct for their flavorless fins to use as a status symbol in soup. Like, we're
not good with stuff.
Yeah, we're not good with things and stuff in general.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, it's just, like, I can't get over that. Stop rooting for the orcas. Like, what do you... Like, how long did they sit around the table workshopping this headline?
Yeah, legit. And, like, it just, it sounds like the most pathetic beta of being like, the orphans, the orcas won't fuck you if you, even if you stand them, right? It's like, you know what? I don't care. There's bigger reasons to support them. Killer whales are not our friends. Cool, I still support them.
Yeah.
I still support people who aren't my friends if they're in the right, and the orcas are in the right. So, stand them all day.
Yeah, this is where it's at, right here.
Yes, yes. I mean, the emus won. I believe in you, orcas.
Yeah, you guys, you got this. I think I read something about like dolphins joining in.
Yeah,
they're organizing with the dolphins now.
Yeah,
this is great.
Soon they're gonna get the octopods.
Yeah.
Octopuses.
Well, if they get the squids organized, those yachts are going down. That's it. I think
they're
that's
gonna
game
call
over.
them the Kraken.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the octopods are going to be like second in command brain-wise, coming up with new tactical shit to do, like because they're so dexterous, they'll be able to just not even, tear off a rudder. They'll just be able to climb into the ship and dismantle it from within. I have faith in you.
Yeah, that's imaginative. I like that. That's like some.
You've I'm sure you've seen the videos and articles about octopuses solving puzzles and riddles and such, like within the context of labs and aquariums. For example, if you put an octopus in a jar and screw it shut, it'll be able to like unscrew the jar.
Oh yeah.
And there's also a story about an octopus who was surreptitiously getting out of its cage.
Oh yeah, I read that story. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Like it knew how to escape, and it did it every night
Yeah.
to what was it? Visit its friend across the way, or was it to eat stuff? I couldn't remember.
There could be more than one story. I feel like there's stories about like it eating stuff, about visiting friends, about like turning out a light that it was annoying it, throwing a shrimp, a bad shrimp at the caretaker.
Yeah.
Anywho, TLDR, I believe in you, octopuses.
Yes.
And I believe in you, orcas. Let me know how I can help.
Yes.
I'll send you my email address.
Yeah.
I'll send you carrier pigeon.
Yeah, well, I had to show this particular tweet. Oh, excuse me. Armchair Commie says, I don't know, the Atlantic. I'm kind of cool with orcas ramming your owner's yacht.
Yeah. Right.
That on the left would be the owner of the Atlantic, a billionaire who is the widow of Steve Jobs. I actually forget her name. Yeah, there you go. Fuck them yachts. Orca 2023. Yeah. Fuck them boats. Somebody does actually say her name somewhere in the thing. I forget what her name is. But yeah, that is Ghislaine Maxwell that she's sitting with. Just so we're clear there.
Yeah.
To quote George Carlin, it's one big club and you ain't in it.
Mm-hmm. So let's sink it.
Yeah.
We ain't in it.
Yeah.
Let it sink.
Yeah. And like it's definitely kind of always been a problem, but I feel like it's a much more escalated problem now in the sense of these billionaires owning media outlets.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a consolidation of power happening there where it's just like this increased thing where you got like media companies, kind of monopolizing and consolidating in on themselves, and a more closed group of people having total control over what we see and hear on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that historically this has been a thing too. Like newspapers.
Wait, they taught an octopus how to use a camera?
Nice.
Okay. Link me that. Send me that story. I kind of want to see that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What were we just talking about?
Billionaires owning media.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, just in terms of like newspapers being unbiased. It's kind of like a newer philosophy. There's a lot of history of newspapers being like extremely schlocky with, zero regard for accuracy.
And that's always been a thing. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Is that like it was just it seemingly like a short span of time in which journalism was legitimate.
Yeah. I think when you have like journalism that does like sort of have they're transparent in what it is they're trying to communicate.
And also
in
when
the
they're
sense
publicly
of we
funded.
are leftist, we are socialist, we are this, we are that. This is the message we're trying to convey.
Yeah.
And if people are taught to be literate and have a certain sense of critical thinking skills, that doesn't really matter, right? Like you don't have to be fair and balanced if you know as a reader what the angle already is. I think that's just like, in my opinion, it's clearer communication.
Okay, but also when it's government funded, then you're not basically at the mercy of your advertisers being able to veto your content.
Yeah, that as well. And for people that argue against government ownership of say news like that, that could potentially have problems. Of course it could, because you have like a power source there.
Because capitalism doesn't have those same issues.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like 6 of one, half dozen of the other, if you want to make that argument. But even then, I would say in government control, in a lot of cases, it's more trustworthy. Like the devil's in the details there, but like at least in Canada, when you're talking about the CBC and stuff like that, they operate at that arm's reach. The government and its officials do not have a lot of control over and say over what happens in that media. Of course, it does have like sort of a bias in the sense of it's biased towards our current Canadian system. I would say that, but like it's not egregiously angled in any sort of way. I'd say it's just egregious in how defensive it is of its own existing political system. But that's almost like understandable when you have people who are already raised in it, groomed in it, to like people who anyone who works in Canadian media, to kind of put it in a sense of like they know what's sort of expected of them in order to work.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Speaking of
Hey,
media,
Katie.
hello. Speaking of media, we should go on over, take that lead in to that recent in the news.
Right. Yes. And yeah, the Canadian story. I don't know if Jessica or Katie, who's in the chat right now, are up on this story, definitely I'd like to hear your opinion on this. I just got to find what tab I put it in. Okay, here. So Rachel Gilmore is kind of doing the reporting on this from her TikTok page. And so she put this like little 1-minute video together. That kind of really spells it out. So definitely, like, share, and follow that video. Hopefully it shows her TikTok at the end. I think it does. But either way, you could probably find Rachel Gilmore if you just search her name now, because I'm pretty sure this is quite a viral video at this point. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
A man with apparent ties to far-right extremist groups somehow got access to the hospital room of an LGBTQ rights activist's dying father, where he took a selfie and sent it to her, in what community advocates are calling an act of intimidation and violence. The man, Bubba Pollock, did this after the activist called out his anti-LGBTQ organizing. I spoke with the activist today who confirmed the incident and sent me messages that Bubba sent her afterwards, including telling her that he plans to show up at any celebration of life after her father passes, and promising to go after her family. Feel free to pause and read these messages. The activist had called out Bubba after he organized a protest of a local drag queen story time. And she pointed out that this also seems to be him. And this is where he replied to the post with a selfie in her father's palliative care room. Windsor police confirmed to me that they are investigating, while anti-hate researchers are pointing out the man appears to have attended White Lives Matter protests and has ties to other far-right groups, including the guy who threw pebbles at the Prime Minister. I'll keep you guys updated on this story. And in the meantime, please look out for one another. This is yet another escalation. What do you think of all this?
Okay, yeah. Well, find her on Twitter then, because I got her Twitter page here. Yeah, at Rachel Gilmore. Literally, she has the word "at" in there. Yeah. So Windsor police are apparently investigating. Don't know how much really have faith in the cops on this one, because we know who their buddies are.
Yeah. There's a newer articles. It's my understanding that he's had charges laid against him by now. But I'm
trying to find.
Yeah, I think that right there, that kind of.
Oh yeah. Wanted to show this.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
This was the original headline that they went with.
Yeah.
When reporting on this story.
Yeah. This is bad reporting. This is horrifically terrible.
I can only think it's reporting. Like it's so bad. It's got to be deliberate, right? Like I kind of have my suspicions, getting a little dreary on my outlook on things here, but yeah, like come on.
Yeah, like guys, honestly, and we were talking about this earlier, that I am just so sick to fucking death of being expected to give everyone the benefit of the doubt when they don't fucking deserve it. Yeah. Like, you are allowed to use your past experiences and make educated decisions about the people around you. And so when shit like this comes up, you don't have to be so open-minded that your fucking brains fall out. This in no way could possibly have been a misunderstood good intention. Like, there's zero possibility. To even phrase that is gaslighting.
There's no way this person legitimately had that thought, right? Where they're like, I wonder.
Yeah, no, that is...
he may have just been a real swell fella.
Yeah, the devil needs no more advocates. Like, that is just completely absurd. But it's stuff like this that...
But they changed the headline now without saying anything, which really gets me. Like, as far as I've seen at least, no apology, no, official retraction. It's just, if you look up this story now, it has a different headline. Yeah. It's reworded.
Yeah, but it's like, just, you are allowed to understand that white supremacists and homophobes are bad people and don't have misguided good intentions. You are allowed to believe that they're bad people. Like, just to give this kind of benefit of the doubt given his history and given this specific situation.
Just the details
is
of the story.
completely insane.
Yeah.
It is insane to give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, keep in mind, we're not police. We're not throwing him in jail. So anyone who starts saying shit like, "Oh, well, innocent until proven guilty," fuck your own face. That is not what that fucking means.
Yeah.
That just means that we can't
that the
decide
government isn't going to incarcerate you for nothing. That's what that is.
Yeah,
right?
but you can absolutely
Like-
make up your own goddamn mind and be like, that was intimidation. That is a violent threat. Like you need
Like have some scruple. Like these, like the kind of idiots that would defend this sort of language are the same people that want common sense to prevail. Why isn't the government just run on common sense? Because this is what you think common sense looks like. It's ridiculous. You have no common sense. The people that want and advocate for common sense government the most, what their concept of common sense is fucking dumb. It's 10 out of 10 every single time.
Yeah. And I'm going to call it dumb. I do not need to give your stupid,
you don't need to talk it out.
uninformed position.
Don't need to talk it out.
I don't need to give your stupid, uninformed position any leeway. I don't need to I'm just gonna
devil's advocate shit.
No.
Well, what if this? What if that? It's like you're wasting time. You're just that is energy draining rhetorical nonsense. Like I would implore to people when I hammer on those notes about like improving your sense of discourse and what sort of discourse you should engage in and what is good and what is bad to sort of say in these arguments, knowing just like when to cut these people off. Like, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. You're not the idiot whisperer. You're not going to say the magic combination of words that unlocks their good conscience. It's idiotic. And have enough self-respect for yourself, your own respect. Have enough of it to say I'm not going to do this. Yeah, this is dumb.
And like you can argue till you're blue in the face that everyone has their own duty to yada yada yada. I would say that in interpersonal situations, potentially with like family, friends, coworkers, if an issue comes up, then I think it's a good thing if you were able to articulate a response against some crazy shit that you hear. But when it comes to online, fuck it. Like, if you want to do that for sport as a hobby, then by all means.
If you're talking to like people, I guess like genuinely, where it's family, it's friends, it's somebody,
that they're not a Russian bot.
Yeah, that's different. But like and I would say that's like if it's let's put it in the context of saying it's community based. If it's people around you within your community that you're trying to reach out to or get through to or really have an honest exchange of ideas, totally different. I'm not nobody is advocating to not debate or discuss things with anyone.
And to tell
saying,
Nana
don't do it with random losers on the internet.
No, random losers on the internet. If this is how you want to spend your afternoon and this does something positive for you, because I don't know, let's say that you broke your leg and you're laid up in bed, or if you just don't want to accomplish anything, you just want to yell at people online, then as a hobby, whatever, just be aware of your energy levels, your intentions, and your expectations of return, right? So that once it stops being fun, you can go on with your life, and just like someone can be wrong on the internet and you still go on with your life. Right?
That's it.
We don't need the last word.
And you're not, if like for, if they want to take that as a win in their minds, where they're like, I won this argument, just really think about it. Does it change anything for anyone? Is that exchange gonna be championed across the internet as the mighty dunking on the left? Probably
and like
not, right?
And like if you've already been out of conversation for like half an hour and then they circle back to the original points and have acknowledged nothing that you've said, then you tried. Time to move on.
Katie saying, let's get unhinged. I was actually just thinking about that, where it's like sometimes the way I feel like, getting really kind of like excited about stuff and angry about it and yelling in the microphone about it, and it's just like, yeah, let's do that. Let's just go the whole 9 yards and do like some sort of like socialist Alex Jones. Just really be freaking unhinged with it. Why not? Let's do 3 sheets to the wind and let's do this.
I mean, I just don't necessarily have the energy for that. But
Yeah. I mean, I would do it for fun every now and then, but I don't think I could honestly be that kind of insane and unscrupulous, even if it's for my own cause. I don't know.
I'm tired.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you are right, Nat. If I remember correctly, you did have charges laid against him. All right, what's the next story I hear? Okay, we're
anyway. I'm just gonna circle back. So TLDR, while you're looking for the next story, don't give these people space. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't play devil's advocate. If you are allowed to exercise your own judgment and immediately come to the decision that a Nazi is bad.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. White supremacists, Nazis, they're not an ethnic group. They're not someone who just, happened to be born at a particular time, date, social class, yada, yada, yada. These are people who choose to be fascists.
Yeah.
And so you are allowed, with that information, to decide that they're bad fucking people and that they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. You are allowed to decide that. I will support you in deciding that and declaring that. If anyone comes up to you and is like, I don't think you gave the Nazi enough benefit of the doubt, tag me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or call me. I'll give you my number. Just be like, tag Nat, you're in. And I'll just be like, listen up, chucklefuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this kind of like it's almost, it's such a ridiculous stretch of like this both sidesism idea where it's like, we got to be fair and balanced at all times.
That's not balanced.
Yeah, that's distinctly unbalanced.
That's putting on a news program 2 professionals. One is a doctor and one is a chiropractor.
They're both doctors.
Who sells homeopathy and oils to cure cancer. One of these people is, there are some bad doctors. What do you call the person who graduates at the bottom of their class in medical school? Doctor. Anyway. But still, don't take 2 people of opposite opinions as being equally weighted. That is insane.
Yeah. If you want to talk about like what's fair and balanced, like sometimes things are just fundamentally unbalanced. When you have something that is right and something that is wrong, something that is fact and something that is fiction, and we have to base our real world decisions on it, one clearly outweighs the other. That is by nature unbalanced. What you are doing is something unnatural by putting your thumb on the scale on the other side and going, well, this ain't right. Better fix that. And force your hand on it to make it not real anymore. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to make Buzz Aldrin sit here and listen to someone who denies the moon landing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to make him go through that.
Yeah, and like, and it leads to stuff like here, I think I bookmarked it here. Oh, where's my bookmarks?
Yeah, no, who are you?
Yeah, this. So this guy, Alex Rosen, who is basically, he's a host of a show on basically right-wing YouTube, Rumble. But his whole shtick on his show is he's doing like the vigilante to catch a predator type thing. That's what his thing is. But he comes off like really like predatory himself. And this is like kind of speaks to that. This guy, Peter Hotez, I believe he helped develop the COVID vaccine and is a big advocate of it. He is a doctor, and vaccine scientist, author, combat anti-science, professor of pediatrics and molecular virology, and so basically a guy who's dedicated his life to medicine and science.
Whereas Alex Rosen has a blue check mark.
Yeah, and Alex Rosen pays for Twitter. It's not even like, just to be clear, on Twitter now, for anybody who doesn't know, verification doesn't exist anymore. That blue check mark is not to identify that you are who you say you are. It merely identifies that you pay for Twitter. That's literally all it does.
Yeah.
There is no actual verification any longer. So he showed up to his house. This guy isn't, like, again, not a real journalist. Like, he's not a journalist by any measure, right? And so he's just a fucking creepy weirdo on top of all else that shows up at this dude's house.
Are you Peter Hotez?
I am. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Hey. So why are you not going to debate RFK on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Oh, come on. That's harassing.
I'm just curious.
What?
Nothing hostile. Just curious.
I haven't said anything one way or the other.
Just kidding.
I mean, are you planning on doing it?
He just invited me, so we'll see.
And I think you should, though.
Well, we'll give it some thought.
Okay.
Okay.
And what do you have to say to people who think they're vaccine injured?
Come on.
Anything for them?
Don't come to my house.
I mean, do you have anything to say to people that think? Do you have anything to say to people? Yeah. I mean, do you think vaccine injuries are real, Peter? Peter, it's just a question.
It's just a question.
Settle the science now.
The science is settled. See, that's not just a question. That is harassment because you know what his answer to that question is.
Yeah.
And you're trying to rope him into getting content for yourself by harassing this guy at his house. This isn't about seeking truth because this has already been talked about. This has already been hashed out. Yeah. There's nothing further to say. It is a fundamentally disingenuous, stupid-ass fucking question. Yeah. And I hope the worst happens to this fucking guy and anybody like him, to be quite honest. Like, it's just... It's so deliberately disingenuous and insane, and they have this shit-eating grin on their face while they're doing it. But I deserve respect because I'm just asking questions.
You deserve zero respect for asking
come
questions.
on.
Like, I can ask questions too. Is the moon cheese? Do these pants make my butt look big?
Yeah.
Why is magnets?
Yeah.
Like, seriously,
it's like when you're like 3 or 4 years old and just going to your parents like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Literally.
Why are you getting upset, Mom? I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, like
Why?
you can
Why?
When someone is, developing as a human in their childhood years, we give them a lot of leeway because they don't have the experience. And yeah, sure, children can still be assholes and wield that leeway irresponsibly and make you crazy. But they're children. They're minors. Like they're allowed. Grown ass fucking adults, no.
Yeah.
You don't deserve any of that.
Like, it's so fundamentally juvenile and undeserving of respect that say, fuck you, your question sucks, is actually a perfectly legitimate way to respond.
Yeah, and to say that your questions suck, you are...
I have nothing to prove to you.
You are a bad faith actor.
Clown.
I don't trust you, and I don't want you anywhere near me. Don't film my residence, you sick fuck.
Oh, he actually did, this Alex Rosen guy, when somebody pressed him, to be like, oh, why don't you post your address if you want people, if you think it's all right for people to show up at his house. You know what address he posted? Peter Hotez's. So he doxed the guy. He doxed him. Like,
we don't
psychotic levels of harassment.
We don't need to give these people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, there's nothing like I'm just a truth seeker about that. No. Right? Like that is not the pursuit of truth. No. By any stretch.
Yeah. And so we need to stop judging adults by toddler standards, right? And also we're allowed to give certain people a higher standard, right? Yeah. Like people with a fucking platform. Just because you have a platform doesn't mean that you should...
It's followed by 82,000 people on Twitter, let alone, whatever his viewership on his Rumble show is.
Yeah. Like, just because you have viewers does not mean that you should be exempt from getting, like, a fucking restraining order any more than a guy at the sandwich shop who followed him home. But as someone who... Oh, fuck. You know better. You fucking know better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And the
that's the
people
thing. They
defending
absolutely
him.
do know better, and it's something I've talked about a bit, kind of interpersonally. And I don't know if I mentioned it distinctly on this show, but I'm gonna see if I can find this particular quote. Yes, here, this Sartre quote. That's what I was trying to find.
Yeah.
You know, he's using the verbiage anti-Semites, but this it really applies to any of these kind of fascistic, far-right morons. Never believe that anti-Semites, fascist people, are completely unaware of the absurdity of their replies. They know that their remarks are frivolous and open to challenge, but they are amusing themselves, for it is their adversary who is obliged to use words responsibly. Read in parentheses, not them. Since he believes in words. The anti-Semite have the right to play. They even like to play with discourse, for by giving ridiculous reasons, they discredit the seriousness of their interlocutors. They delight in acting in bad faith, since they seek not to persuade by argument, but to intimidate and disconcert. If you press them too closely, they'll abruptly fall silent, loftily indicating by some phrase that the time for argument is over. Right?
Yep.
And it happens every single time. If you manage to press them enough, despite their ridiculousness, it's time to reach into the magic bag of slurs and start hurling those at you. Or if it's in person, just physical intimidation. But, like, make no mistake, despite that, what you saw in that video of him asking questions, him physically showing up there is an act of intimidation.
Oh yeah,
that's what it's meant to be.
It says, "I know where you live.
Yeah,
I will come to where you live,
and we will show up." And people in the thread of that, defending this Rosen guy. Basically being like, well, how's that different from showing up on the lawn of a Supreme Court judge and protesting? How's that different? How is my butt different from a hole in the ground? They're kind of the same thing. Like, literally, like, the disingenuousness of that question. I really would love to look someone like that in the eye and be like, is that a real question?
Mm-hmm.
Are you honestly asking that as an adult, real human being? Trying to be genuine? That's really a question you're asking.
Yes, your butt is different from
yeah, like how is this doctor who works on vaccines for a living different from a politician that helps to form laws that affects people's lives and has major institutional power? How are those things different?
Yeah.
And not only how is a weird dude with a Rumble show, dressed in like I saw a picture, he was wearing like basketball shorts and a t-shirt or something, and just had like his phone. Like, it wasn't like he was like, showed up in a news van or something, right? Yeah. Like, he was just literally this guy that showed up at the house and to intimidate this guy. And that is massively different from a bunch of citizens banding together to stand on somebody who has institutional powers lawn. Like, if you don't understand how that's different, I just point to this again. You're either just too dumb or you're playing. You're playing your rhetorical games because I have to be responsible with words and you don't. It's fucking absurd, man. Oh God. So tired.
Yeah. You know what else makes me tired? Doug.
Yeah. Dougie.
You fucking cunt.
So, we just had a pandemic that we were grossly underprepared for, right?
That isn't over. But we've just decided that
he
we're
declared
not
it was over. Even though 2022 was actually the deadliest year for COVID.
Yeah.
We had declared the pandemic over.
Yeah, because it's just financially inexpedient to acknowledge
even
it.
After all this,
yeah,
right? Ford government allocating $21 billion less to fund healthcare. And this is going to further restrict hospital bed capacity. It will diminish. What is it? Revealing that hospital capacity will diminish by 2027, 28 due to surging demand, and the province is allocating over $21 billion less to the sector. And this is already after. I don't even know what the totality of his cuts have been so far, but like this is just more like continuing upon it, right?
And like we already are, like we just hit 40 million people in Canada. We are a growing population. We are an aging population. We know this. And yet, no, this is, especially after a pandemic, this is the perfect time to make sure that everyone can just eat shit and die.
Yeah. I want to go back to that for a second, hear what they were saying.
Long-term care beds, more nurses in home care, areas all buckling under immense strain. The Financial Accountability Office report finds it's going to fall short.
The overall spending plan is not enough to meet its commitments, let alone increases in demand from Ontario's growing and aging population.
Ford has long dismissed the financial watchdog's findings.
The government likes to talk about these reports as if it's some sort of snapshot.
And the Premier did just that.
The FAO, they only take a snapshot in time. They don't include the health transfers.
The opposition, though, claims Ford has been underspending on health care.
We can see that you've made cuts.
Yeah.
You've practically bragged about them. Like, again, disingenuous rhetorical games, but this is coming from somebody who actually has real institutional power, who's doing these things that is affecting people's lives.
That is
yes, we should be going up on
lives.
Yeah, we should be showing up on that guy's fucking front lawn.
I'll show up in his front lawn.
Right?
If you call me a hypocrite, I'll headbutt you.
Absolutely, this is the type of person where it's 100% okay to show up on their lawn because, quite frankly, he should not know a moment's peace for what he is doing to people in Ontario.
Yeah.
And already on top of all of this, he is cutting and basically like committed to not shoring up the gap of completely uninsured people, like people who can't get OHIP, people who can't get the Ontario Healthcare Insurance Plan for various reasons, because they're homeless. For example, that can be a huge barrier to getting your health card up to date and keeping that current. So they still need health care. They still show up to hospitals. Hospitals still serve them. And what was historically happening was basically the Ontario government was paying for that. They would just like give an additional fund and make those ends meet for those hospitals. They're not doing that now. And they've explicitly said that they're not going to do that now. So this, like, talk about just taking a snapshot, Doug. There's another half of it that people aren't necessarily seeing on top of this $21 billion that's being cut. So it's insane.
Yeah. I mean,
such deliberate, like, just bullshit. It drives me freaking crazy.
Yeah, like, I don't have a family doctor. I haven't had one since I moved to Ottawa. I'm hoping to get back in with your family doctor. Because fortunately, when we moved here, I took myself off the doctor's register to try to get one locally, but he didn't. And so hopefully I can get back with them because I'm a 42-year-old woman and I have a need for regular check-ins with a doctor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, this is just completely maddening. And, like we already know how precarious and precious health is and can be. And so now having zero backup, like forget even preventative health care. Like who on earth is even able to make like an annual wellness check-in with their doctor anymore? Like just in terms of like the doctor's rosters, they're busy as shit. We don't have time to have a teaspoon of prevention over a pound of cure. My family dog's in Hamilton. I don't actually know where Port Elgin is.
Yeah, was it? My family doc is in. Yeah. Well, Port Elgin, I know, is not really close to Hamilton. I can tell you that.
I believe you. I have no idea where Port Elgin is.
Here, I gotta try.
The company that makes
It's on this guy's TikTok, this video I'm trying to find.
And sorry, what was that related to?
Doug Ford. Here we are.
He's got a magnificent beard.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
Okay, so this is Steve Boots. He has a great TikTok channel. He's pretty popular on there, but he does a nice little breakdown here talking about, not spending, right? Like, making these cuts to healthcare, for instance, yet
Pictured here showing off his snacks for his road trip to Muskoka, has amassed a little rainy day fund. You know how his government insists they can't afford to pay for any public services? Turns out they're sitting on $22 billion in excess funds that they don't really appear to have a plan to spend. Just piling it up. There is no transparency on how that money is going to be used over the next 4 years. And these $22 billion are not attached to any specific programs. In the winter economic outlook, there was $10.8 billion in excess funds. So that's $22.6 billion that the government should be spending on public services, but isn't. Of course, the government insists that they've set it aside. Some of it's for healthcare, some of it's for post-secondary, some of it's for, quote, other programs. $17.8 billion going to unnamed misery programs. Always a good sign. Of course, the government insists that they need to hold on to that money, just in case. But this is the real key. Quote, if the province decides not to use that $22.6 billion in excess funds, then these funds could be applied to improve the budget balance and reduce the province's net debt. That's the move. Sit on the money, take a chunk off the debt when it's politically convenient, and claim that you're sound financial managers. It's a grift. They are ripping you off. The government is sitting on stacks of cash and projecting surpluses and still refusing to fund basically anything. And to give you a sense of just the scale of this, the national student debt load is $40 billion. This sum of money could erase the student debt for every person in Ontario, with a snap of the fingers. But instead, they're just going to sit on a big stack of money. Seems incredibly helpful, at least to Doug Ford. Ontario Premier Doug...
So, that's basically as much as he just said that previous article mentioned he was cutting from healthcare.
Yeah. And fucking seriously, if your intention is to run government like a business, or if you support people who want to run government like a business, then you don't understand business and you don't understand the purpose of government.
Yeah. The government is not supposed to generate income for the people of Canada. It takes in some of our income in order to redistribute it for social systems that everybody can use and need and benefit from and elevate our overall collective standard of living. That is basically the long and short of it, right? It's not meant to amass wealth and go to where? Where is the wealth going to go?
Shareholders?
Yeah. Like, to pay off the debt, to, again, make it look like we're doing such a good job, while it's the complete opposite. They're crumbling systems that government is, like, basically removing the things that government is supposed to do, its literal job, like, and delegitimizing government further and further.
Yeah.
That's part of their goal here. Break it. Oh my God, look how broken it is. Government is terrible. And, like, it's the only job in the world where people seem to hire you to fail at it.
Yeah.
Conservative government. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, just this is the same kind of thing where it's like, I don't think that we need to give Doug or anybody else the benefit of the doubt. You are bad at this. You are doing this purposefully. You are even now, in the year of our Lord, 2023, after all we've been through under this fucking guy, I'll still hear people say, they're like, Dougie's, he's doing the best he can. For what? For whom? In what way? By what metric? And if you say reducing the budget, I'm going to punch you in the face, because this
no,
is
I don't
not...
know millennial moron, by the way. I would be interested to know.
Yeah. But, like, the... national debt, the provincial debt, is not the same as your credit card debt or your housing loan.
Yeah.
They are not the fucking same. You don't treat them the same. I'm going to go without my avocado toast and Starbucks for a few months so I can pay down my credit card debt, because the it benefits me way more to pay that down than to be paying the interest. This isn't the fucking same.
Yeah.
Don't take away the avocado toast, which is healthcare, and the Starbucks, which is roads.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This is robbing Peter to pay Doug.
Yeah. Yeah. And like paying down the debt doesn't really like help anybody who's alive right now, right? Like if it means that honestly, it's all like made up numbers. They're just going to keep growing that debt, swelling it year after year,
and
raising that
cares?
debt ceiling
Who
all the
literally
time.
honestly cares?
And it's just going to that number can go up for all of eternity, because at the end of the day, no one actually owes that money. It's all just fucking made up nonsense, and they know it.
No.
So, like, just hand-wringing about the debt is purely just, like,
stupid
conservative talking point as an excuse to crumble and further take away from the foundations that make our society good. And, like, I wanted to make the point about the further Americanization of Canada. And this is a point of it. Like, healthcare is such an important, huge cornerstone of what keeps the Canadian standard of living good and recognizably better than the people to the south of us. And we're getting more and more that way. Like, and it further emphasizes how what happens in America and the type of political strategy or propaganda or hammering on certain notes or certain types of pressure, whether it be like, astroturfed or, billionaire media owners and stuff pushing it, whatever, if it works for the capitalist benefit, they'll literally repeat it in Canada right after.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And
like, show me where it's not happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Come up with an example.
Yeah. Like, the rhetoric that Doug Ford rode on in order to get elected in the first place was just right on par with Trumpism, all the way.
Yeah, 100%.
And they see something that works down there. Oh, like this insane experiment that they never thought would work starts actually working somehow. And they run with it. And really, like, it working is just like throwing as much money at it as they possibly can, because they have a lot of it. And so, astroturfing, to explain what that is briefly for people who may not know what I'm talking about, it's basically when billionaires fund grassroots movements and make it look like it's a demand of the people, but it's really just a bunch of people being bankrolled, like the convoy in Ottawa last year, prime example of that, and why people got so upset when Trudeau invoked the Emergency Act and took their foreign funds flowing in from the United States away. This is how dark money politically moves around and stuff, right? So, these are powerful, moneyed interests, and once they see a certain amount of success in their strategy down there, because that seems to be where the experiment zone is right now, they just repeat it up here.
Yeah. By the by, Katie, she, her pronouns. And that's like lack of media literacy, not knowing enough about to say no when someone is seemingly making a lot of sense of stuff that is upsetting you in life. This is part of where the media fucking lets us down by making it sound like people like Jordan Peterson are just as legitimate as anybody, and that is not true. Jordan Peterson is a terrible human being. I hope he kicks rocks, and I have nothing nice to say about him.
Yeah. Wait, speaking of which, see if I can find this tweet.
I have no idea what he was looking for.
There's a video. Oh God. No.
Anyway,
so the search function on Twitter desktop is actually remarkably worse than the search function on the Twitter app. I don't really understand how that works, But yeah, I know.
Good thing is it doesn't.
I'm trying to find this tweet from the Surfs that he retweeted a while ago, but this guy tweets a lot. Oh, there it is. Yeah, deeply unserious nonsense. That's what it was. Yeah, just listen to this guy talk. And then across from him is fucking known right-wing goon James Lindsay, who likes to hang out with the, what is it, that XM sex cult people.
Oh,
You know, while he claims it's the queers that are groomers, you know, so just a couple of disgusting pigs sitting across from each other.
Every
but just
is a confession.
Yeah, right. And now listen to these fucking people. It's just like, this is who, as Nat was just mentioning, the people that we're supposed to take seriously in this.
Troll demons. One of them is a whistleblower, and the other 99 are malignant narcissists. Right. So, and I think they should be allowed to have their say, but they shouldn't be thrown. The troll demons, and those are, what would you say, machine-human hybrids, right? Because when you're online, you're a machine-human hybrid.
Sure.
Troll demons are not human, right? Anonymous troll demons are not human.
Right.
You don't put them in with the people. You put them in like anonymous troll demon hell. And if you want to go there and visit and see what they're up to, no problem.
Dude, you're on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like,
you are the anonymous troll demon.
Yeah. Like,
the call is coming from inside the house.
Like, it, like, again, it's always like every accusation is a confession again, right? Because like we know. When we're talking about troll demons here, like if we're talking about, like, you know, really put in more of a literal sense, machine-human hybrids, like bot farms, you know, that sort of thing. Those like, we know that is like right-wing angled, right? Like that's what Twitter has become since Elon has taken it over. The bot problem has exploded like crazy. They all mysteriously have Twitter Blue accounts, which I have kind of a bit of a conspiracy theory about. That's all a money laundering scam. Like people paying for Twitter Blue is just like paying for these bots and stuff. It's money laundering, much like crypto. And amazing how both of those things go back to Elon so quickly. I'll probably expand about that some more on the next episode. I was hoping to talk about it today, but we haven't quite gotten there. But you know, and then on top of that, you know, the machine-human hybrids, because you know when you're online, you're a machine-human hybrid. Dude, your entire career is online. That's your whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, the lack of awareness.
Yeah, and so one thing that
he is insane. He's legit insane. Like, I find myself using the word insane a lot to the point where I'm like, wait, am I delegitimizing it? But it's like, no, I am actively engaging with insane stuff on a regular basis, and I'm just identifying for what it is. And I watch way too much of this guy's content. Not so much recently, but for a couple of years ago, I was definitely knee deep in it, figuring this guy out, and it's legit bonkers shit.
Yeah. So now, one thing I want to circle back to with this shit that he says, and about the the gaslighting from that dude who showed up at that protesters' dying dad's hospice room, and the statement I made earlier about every accusation is a confession.
Yeah.
So the right says a lot of things like LGBT folks and drag queens are groomers and pedophiles, and yet if we look at the number of pedophiles that have been arrested from like the Republican Party or from churches,
Catholic
from
priests,
church leaderships.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is that they
pastors.
The thing is they muddy the waters by saying stuff like, oh, well, they're just calling us pedophiles because we called them pedophiles. You're allowed to decide one side is being sincere and that the other side is acting in bad faith.
Yeah.
You can decide that only one person pointing the finger is right. You can decide that. You don't need to be like, well, hey, this got kind of crazy. The guy who's holding the gun.
And you can decide that, like, outside of, like, you know, the social stigma, right? Like, because the idea is to create a social stigma around queer people to the point where to defend them and stand up for them can feel like, you're being analogous to standing up for, sexual abuse, right? And that's the idea. That's the propaganda. They want those things to feel analogous, so you will feel hesitant to speak up against this bigotry.
Yeah.
And it's 100% okay to recognize that and say it out loud. You should.
Yeah.
Call it what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like it's like going into a room and seeing one guy standing there with a gun and the other guy was shot, but the guy with the gun says, he shot me.
Yeah.
You can believe.
I don't know who to believe in this situation. I don't know. He's saying that. That guy's bleeding on the floor, but you said, I don't know.
But you said he shot you, so I'm. Yeah. Anyways, use your own fucking judgment, and if your judgment sucks, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically it. I think that's just shut the fuck up is a nice way to cap off the show.
If you don't
that's
know
what we're
enough,
gonna do now.
If you don't know enough to confidently say one way or the other, or if you're gonna say it because oh god, wait.
Because what?
YouTube's doing the ad blockers now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got sidelined.
Yeah, I got the pop up saying, "Hey, you're using an ad blocker." So yeah, YouTube's doing that now. Look forward to that, folks.
I'm just gonna go back to pirating everything. Yeah. Anyway, TLDR. If you have a good heart, I'll give you 5 minutes to make your case. And if you're still stupid, go away.
Yeah. So as always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of the chat, Katie and Jessica. Love you guys. And that's our show for today. Until next week.